Hello, everybody. Good evening. It is Sissy from Sissy's Cards and Crafts. I'm apologizing for my absence for the last little while. I just to backtrack. I am from Eastern Ontario, Canada, and I am a Stampin' Up independent demonstrator. I thought tonight we would do a very simple card, kind of using things you have. So I wanted to just remind you that this is for fun. This is like creating something, and you don't necessarily need to have the package and everything be exactly the way Stampin' Up has kind of laid it out for you. You can use whatever you've got. So I thought just to do a simple card, I saw somebody do one earlier, and I just thought I would kind of replicate it. And um, Ange McKay, sorry, that's the name. She did one early this morning, and I thought, you know what, that was perfect. I liked it, so I'm going to kind of case it from her. Okay, so back to my little absence. There, a week and a half ago, we took Josh to Niagara Falls and did some fun stuff there, water parks, Clifton Hill. They went to the casino, Dad and Josh, while I just chilled and watched crafting videos in the hotel. Then, unfortunately, I came back and I had 3 long days of work. I travel for work, so that just kind of wipes me out. So I'm kind of, about 100 kilometers one way I work and 150 kilometers the other way I work. So I kind of needed a reprieve and just found too much on the go. So I'm back. This Wildflower Birthday Specialty Designer's paper, it is really beautiful. So it has its one side that's just kind of flat, and it's gorgeous. It's got lines and a basic pattern in it. And then it's got the other side that has gold in it. Like, it's so pretty. And it has so many. I'm trying to grab the papers. I know I've showed it before, but like, this is one of my favorites. I like that with that pool party. This one with the flowers and the gold. So there's 2 of each. Oh, sorry, the back side. This is a nice pink gingham. This side has the nice soft seafoam floral or leaf on it. This one has the cakes, like I've already demonstrated, and that line. And then there's this one that has a bit of a bigger floral. So this one's a little bit busier, has more of a peach pie hue to it, where this one has more of the pool party background and floral. And the leaves, of course, are a little bit different. And this has got some gold dots in it. So very beautiful. I've been cropping it up because I quite like it. But then we also get all of the ephemera and punch out pieces that make it so easy to do a card. So if you're just new to card making and you're overwhelmed by thinking, oh, I've got to buy stamps, I've got to buy ink, I've got to do all of these things, it is a lot. And so I kind of thought, you know what, let's just showcase something like this that really just demonstrates how easy it can be if you have the stuff that you want. So what I've done, and just again following Ange McKay, so shout out to her, just to show kind of a very basic type of card. Our traditional A2 card is our this kind of that 5.5 by 4.25. So this time I took and I sliced it lengthwise at 4.25 and scored it at 5.5. So we have the card that's going to open up like this. And we could just take some of that DSP. Oh, here was another one. It has all of these cut pieces. There's tags, there's card fronts, and then it has this peach pie background. So I didn't show you that. But you could just take something like this. Sorry, I'm grabbing a piece of paper from behind me. My office is such a mess. You could lay that on there, and then you could like cut it down, and then you could put on some sort of die cut, which I thought I had one of. I must have put it back. I did put it back. So, you could pop on a die cut like that. You could put on something like this, cut this out, and have that as your centerpiece. Like that would be lovely as well, especially mirroring some of those things beneath it. You could go with something more flat. And by flat, I mean it doesn't have that gold that's making it pop. And put something like this on top, right? Like that could be very, very simple to do that. I really liked that Ange put a piece of embossed paper on there. I really, really like the embossing. So you can see, I've got to switch my cameras around. I apologize. Unless I pay the price, I'm not going to get really high def video. So I'm going to switch my cameras. I'll try that for next time. But this is an embossed piece, and this embossing folder was, again, I'm reaching over for all of the nonsense that I have around my desk here, is the one that was for Celebration, the free one. And it is Starstruck embossing folder. It's not a 3D embossing folder, but it does look pretty stunning. And it's really quite applicable for a birthday. When we have our DSP, it states on the back of it what colors are in there. And this one has a couple of our in colors that were launched last year. And the one that we are looking at is, I'm going to kind of go with, is the Pretty in Pink. And just pulled out that cardstock. You can buy that cardstock kind of in sets where you get that whole set of in colors. So we're going to put that on there like that to start. And we'll just glue that down. Find my glue. When you're doing, so normally when you have white paper, you don't want to put a whole lot of glue on it because the glue will actually show through. Not so much if you have the very thick white cardstock, but any of the other white cardstocks, you want to be very cautious about that. So you just kind of, if you're using especially our Tombow glue, it is very, very good. So you don't need a whole lot of it. But when you're doing an embossed piece like this, sorry, I just want to totally mute that. When you have an embossed piece like this, you want to make sure that you do add enough glue to hold that down because all of those little divots are going to pick up that glue and kind of pull it in, and it's not going to have the surface area to adhere. So you're going to use that properly. Okay, we could just have that on there like that. That would be beautiful. You even have all sorts of labels. We could put that label on there like that. That would be beautiful. Like that's a very, very quick and easy card. We pop that up, so give it even more dimension. We can put a ribbon on that. Like that's just quite nice like that. Sorry, I'm just looking to see what the name of this ribbon is. The other thing I wanted to point out is sometimes you're going to purchase stuff like I purchased this ribbon. It's a 3-pack of ribbon, sheer combo pack. It has blue, yellow, and pink in it. And it is kind of that Pretty in Pink. I think it's a lighter, paler pink. And you're going to have some left over. What do you do with it? Do you just kind of get rid of it, donate it? No, you use it. Just because it's no longer in the catalog doesn't mean you're not going to use it on your card. So I have some of this, and I could put this on here. The only problem I'm really kind of having with this ribbon right now is there's a silver thread in it, whereas I want to kind of go with the gold. That's me being pernickety. But, you know, we'll see what we're going to do. So that is one option. What I want to do is pull out one of these card fronts. So there's a whole bunch of them. This is like only a quarter of the page. And I thought I would pull this one out. It measures 3.5 by 4.5. No, 5. Problem is for what I want it for, it needs to be cut down. So I really want it at 4.5 by 3.25. So I'm going to have to just use some math skills here tonight. I already wrote it down just to make it easy on myself. I need 1/8 off of each side. So, and remember I said about these trimmers, you can get that very easily. You can cut these smaller amounts off with this amazing paper trimmer, whereas some of the other trimmers, it's not as easy to get 1/8 off. All right, and then I need 1/4 off of the bottom and the top. And really, this has already got a picture on it, right? I don't want to damage that picture, and I want to make sure it stays centered. So I did have to do a little bit of math. It hurt a little bit, but I think I was able to do it. We'll see. This is the true test to see if it actually is what I want. So I wanted it to be small enough that we could still see that embossing around. And that there to me looks great, right? I've got some color here. I have some gold. There is a pattern there, if you can see it, like a scalloped white. So that's pulling the white in, definitely pulling the pink in. But you know what would be even better if we pulled a little bit of gold in. So I just want 1/8 of an inch all the way around here. So that means I'm now at 3.25 this way. So I need 3 3/8 wide. So 2 3/8. There we go. And then I will need, yeah, that's not working. I'm starting to question myself there. This is 4.5. So I need 5/8. All right. Now, again, cross our fingers that I did my math okay. And so now we have just a nice little gold border all the way around that. That's going to make that pop even more, which I really like. I don't even think I'm going to use dimensionals on this part of it because I have these layers that are just working so well together. They look so nice together. And I have the dimension of the embossing folder there. So there we go. Look at that. Oh, like that's just pretty itself, right? I just think I'm a sucker for gold. That's just ask my husband. I'm constantly wanting the gold or pearls. I'd take pearls too. Birthday's in June. It's my birthstones is pearls, so I don't mind a pearl. All right, I'm going to center this on here. I was debating, like I said, putting that ribbon on, but I really think, especially since I've amped up the gold here, I don't want to bring in any silver. We did have some really nice gold thread. It came out at Christmas time. I think it's been discontinued. I'm not entirely sure, but it would be perfect for something like this. Okay, so I cut out one of these tags, and these are great tags. So obviously I could stamp on that, right? There's a white spot. I could stamp on it quite easily. But now it's kind of taken up space here that I don't really want, and I'm just not quite happy with it. These tags I'm not going to use, but you could You could heat emboss your sentiment on there, but these are more or less to go behind another tag. You can kind of center them or put them behind another tag, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. Still not going to use them, but there is quite a few different tags here. So I was looking at this and I saw this, and that made me think of paper pumpkin we had, I believe it was in the summer. That was Time for Cake. It wasn't quite that color, but it had kind of these blues and pinks and everything in it. I'm like, you know what? I can use that. So I scoured some pieces out of there. Well, first off, I pulled out the stamp, and that one actually had extra stamps that came with it. So we have some numbers here and our like RT, ST, all of the ND, like for whatever the birthday is. And then we had all these lovely stamps. So it's Time for Cake, Happy Birthday, Lost Count, Make a Wish, some gorgeous candles, Celebrate, some balloons, a really good stamp set. This wasn't given to me just to use for the paper pumpkin. I can use this for anything. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull this in. And I also, rummaging through, I found this little banner, and I'm like, you know what? There's that pink again. And I punched it out, and I looking at it, and I thought we could put that right in the center there. I will pop this up. Just going to rub that little part there, the punch out part. And so the stamp that they had for this was Happy Birthday, which, guess what? Perfect. Exactly what I want. So I'm going to just kind of lay it down on here just to make sure. So it's a curved stamp. It's photopolymer. And then I'm going to pick it up. I like to just, especially on something very small like that, I like to make sure I lay my stamp on it so I know it's going to work before I actually utilize it. All right, color now. So we want words to be in a good color that's going to be legible. If I used like this soft blue pool party, it's not going to be what I want. I could go for a black. Black is always traditional. It's going to be good. I could go really fancy and heat emboss in gold. Like that idea, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I could go for a little bit darker, maybe a shy shamrock sort of color. I don't really want to do the pink. Pink isn't a good reading color, or red. A good, like our Blackberry Bliss or a Cherry Cobbler, they're good for reading, but I try to avoid using reds for my letters. So now I'm looking at this nice deep blue, and I'm thinking that would work. So I'm going to pull out a Misty Moonlight or even Night of Navy. Now you can't really tell, but these candles are variegated, so they kind of have both shades in there. I think I'm going to go for that Misty Moonlight just because it's a little bit, it's very close, and I think it will look good. So do have extra of these. If I screw this up, I have more, but I don't want to screw it up, right? So what I suggest is make sure you can see what you're doing. You're going to have to get your head in over top of what you're doing and come straight down. Like I always like to do is get a scrap piece of paper to kind of print on first. So I've got this scrap here, just came out of my printer. I've used it for other things. And I'm just going to make sure that stamp works well. There's no flaws on it. It's just kind of a little bit of my analness that's coming through in that. But as you've seen, I have caught myself doing something wrong. All right, come down on that. Like, remember the day that I stamped and there was a backing from a dimensional on the stamp, right? If I hadn't have done my practice one, I would have messed that up. Okay, I let that sit there for a little bit because you want the ink to come from the stamp into the paper. Paper is fibrous. It needs to absorb that ink. So give it a chance to do that. It might not have had to hold it as long as I did, but you know, it doesn't hurt. Okay, so there's that little banner there. I think that looks sweet. It pulls that blue in. So if you can do that, it works really well to be able to pull colors together and make them work together, and just makes it look more professional or unified, that you put a little bit of thought into it. Mind you, if you did not have the right color, black always is a good go-to. I just put that on just a little bit crooked and just straighten it up there so I can't see it. And I think I'm going to go with 3 just because it's long and narrow. I'll pull these backings off. I'd like to take this time to really thank you guys for those of you that have joined my channel. Like and subscribe and share it. This is kind of a new endeavor for me in my world. My work world is slowing down. Arthritis has made that decision for me. So this is my new, I want to make money playing and enjoying. You know, to make money at what you enjoy is golden. So cards, crafts, that's my cup of tea. And I will be sharing some videos this week about how to use Cricut, Design Space, all of that. But for now, we're talking about Stampin' Up! And doing cards. So I think that's just a sweet card. Open it up, put a sentiment inside. So pieces of paper for the inside, a lot of people will do different things. I don't want it to be a full size. It's just, I find it too much. So I'm probably actually going to go the size that I had this piece of DSP, which, well, let's just kind of, yeah, no, it was 4.5 by 3.25. I think that's a good size. So 4.5. Actually 3.25 is what I want to do this way. I don't know if you're on the night that I changed my blade on my on the trimmer here. Like, it just goes through so much nicer. I don't know why I didn't do that a long time ago. I was struggling for a while with that. Don't throw these pieces away. So I just cut that off the bottom. That is like pretty much the same size as this. So don't throw it away. You will use it for something. Have a bin. Sorry, I dropped something. Have a bin. I just have a bin that I keep over here that I put all of those extra pieces in. One day, when I reorganize this mess of my craft space, I will organize that properly. But for now, that's kind of what I got. Okay. So this is just going to sit in here. We need something white to write on and to stamp on. So let's just go back to this stamp set and say, what have we got? Sorry, I'm looking around. It's time for cake. Make a wish. We could put celebrate. It's time for cake. Kind of like that. Or we could just do that. It's time for cake. See if that will fit on here. Just barely. All right. So that will go on there. And I think we'll add a couple other things. So I'm going to get the same color out. There's nothing wrong with using a color on the front and then using black on the inside. That's completely fine as well. It's kind of more decorative, your sentiment on the outside. and the inside definitely is meant for reading. And you're going to write something there as well, most likely in black. So that's completely fine to do the black, but I think I'm going to just stick with this nice deep blue color. Allow that to go on. And I just as I was about to pull that up, I'm like, I didn't test it. That's like a no-go, but it worked. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay, I'm going to get out this pretty in pink as well. I'm glad you guys can't see my craft room. It is a disaster. All right, I'm going to just use my Stampin' Scrub. So this Stampin' Scrub here, one side is the wet, and there's the Stampin' Mist Cleaner that you spray on it. You can use water, especially just for the photopolymer, but you rub it on the wet side. And sometimes you can even see it's wet, and then you come over on the dry side. I've taken some photopolymer stamps that I've had for a while that really aren't sticking to the block anymore, and I have run them through this, and it's revitalized them. It's made them so much nicer. You can also use some alcohol to make them sticky again too, especially on your blocks. Clean off all the stuff that might be on there. I think I put that on the wrong way because it's not fitting. Okay, there are some balloons here. I thought we could use the balloons, or actually, now that I'm rethinking it, there's some candles, and we have a nice flame here for the end of it. I think that's what I want to use. And there's a really long one, and then there's kind of two shorter ones here. I think I'm going to use these, and then that, I'm just going to leave it on here before I lose it, but that we will do in a yellow. So I'm going to put these on with the pink. Let's pick up one for now. The other thing with giving a stamp a try before is ink that you don't use a lot kind of sometimes settles and might need a good little rub around to make sure that it's not settled, especially if you store it a certain way. So stamps should be stored flat, not standing on its end, because that's going to, like, ink is liquid. It's going to go to the lowest, like gravity's going to pull it down. So try to make sure you store it flat. And the one thing with the Stampin' Up inks, they are, the cases rather, they make the ink store upside down. So let me explain what I'm talking about, because I'm afraid I might have just confused people. All right, so this is what I mean, store it flat like this. But look what happens. I've got the ink pad here. I'm going to flip it. And now this is the top of my ink pad. There's the bottom. It's the top. That ink pad is upside down. So that means all of the ink is going to be held at the surface of that ink pad. So then when I go to stamp, I don't have to push really hard to get the ink that's settled at the bottom. It's going to be right there fresh at the top. And then this, you store it this way, flat. So it's going to hold that ink upside down, and it's going to hold it level. Whereas if I put it in like this somewhere, it's going to pull it down to this end. Does that make sense? Remember, it is a liquid. You don't want that liquid going out of your way where it's not supposed to be. So as I open this lemon lolly, see how that's now upside down, and there, that I know that ink is going to be ready right there for me to use. So I'm going to pull this, and I'm going to use the small block for this one, because I just find with this I need to be right above my candle to show its flame. There we go. And even though there's no yellow, well, there's a little bit of peach pie in our card or in the front. It's very applicable that I put yellow there, right? That it can be seen like that. So it's time for cake. I'm going to just put this in here. And then one last thing that we're going to worry about with our card is some sort of embellishments. I don't really need it on this one because we have that gold there that is just so beautiful. But let's take it all the way. Now see here with this pink candle, how it pulls the pink in from the paper here. There we go. All right, so embellishments. And again, this is something you buy, and then you're like, I have all these embellishments. What do I do with them? You use them. Just because they might not be the latest and greatest thing, use your embellishments. So I've got a whole slew here that I've had. Now, which ones are going to work? These ones definitely no-go. Christmas ones, no, they are a no-go as well. We're not going to use them. We have these coffee ones. They're great, and I've used them a lot lately, but no-go. These ones, they're a silver metallic. Don't want that. These antiqued pearls, they're gorgeous. Still not kind of wanting them. We have these ones here. These are quite old. I forget what they came with, but these were speckled dots. They're really nice, but again, not what I want. Now I've got some gold here, but it's more of a, or it's not really gold. It's more of a peach pie, and then some silver. These blue ones, we could like totally just go out and do blue, but I don't think that's what I want. So let me get another package here. I have, and I've only been doing this for a couple of years. I have collected quite a few gems. All right. I need to go through them again to say these are new ones, these ones are old ones. Now, these are the in color dots. These are shimmer gems. They are very, very pretty. There is a shimmer to them. And we do have that pink. I could add that. So that is a maybe. Let's hold that over here. These are from Christmas. I can't remember what they're called. And unfortunately, the backing is gone. But they're very shiny. I could throw them on there with the gold, possibly. All right, we've got more of the in color. There's these ones. These were one of the first ones that I've gotten. I've used quite a few of them. This one might not be so bad, but the bigger ones, I don't want. These were the ones I was kind of thinking about, these little festive pearls. I used a lot of these, and you had red, the pale pool party, and silver and gold, like them. There's more of those antiqued pearls. More Christmas ones. Oh, were these these were the druzy backed embellishments. That's right. That's what those were. Because everybody was like, what does the druzy mean? So that's that. These are like old, and they don't have colors I want. So honestly, now there's these ones here that are very opaque, but if we put them against something, they kind of pull up that color. There's a pink color to them. You know what? I think I like them. And I think they were probably one of the first things I received as a demonstrator. And I'm like, what would I ever use them for? And I haven't really used them. But now that I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, hey, you know what? They might work. Now I've got a little bit extra putty there. And these are a little bit concave. So they're kind of holding the putty. But as I put them on, I'm thinking, you know what? they look quite nice. That's just kind of the shimmer that I need. Unfortunately, I don't think you can see that, but they look really, really nice. So I think there's my card. I would even go as far as saying, you know what, you can take your envelopes, just pull an envelope down, and run this part through the embossing folder. So how you do that is you take your embossing folder and open it up if you can. Stick the flap in there. And because you need to put it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you still have to kind of fold it over. So there will be a bit of a flat edge, but you're going to get this embossed. And then we could decorate the top. So let's do that just before I leave you to actually show you how you can take this the whole way through. Like I've said before, I have an old Sizzix and I've kind of got it on a shelf right here under my desk. That's kind of a pull out. So I'm working that way. Sorry, you can't kind of see what I'm doing, but I just don't have the space for this big old Sizzix to come up. It is great. It does the job. I'm very happy with it, but it does take a lot of space. Okay. So just tuck that back away. Move back up with my squeaky, squeaky chair. All right. So now I can pull this envelope out. And there we go. Like, doesn't that just pop? Just changes the whole look of that envelope in my mind. And for the front, let's do something here. Let's add one of these candles to the front. Okay, so I've got, we were kind of halfway cleaned there, not fully cleaned. Ooh, look at what happens. Can you see how bent that is? I like to actually put my thing down and pick it up. It doesn't have to be on the paper, but just to make sure that I do it right, because that can be frustrating. You go to stamp something and it's totally crooked. Okay, I know this stamp works. I know my ink pad works. I don't need to restamp it, but I'm going to just put that candle here. Originally, I thought just one candle, but I think I'm going to actually do both because we have the space on the card and it will mirror what's inside. So we'll do this one and put that there. Clean it off. Put it back. Put my ink pad back. See, I'm good at putting stuff back. Sometimes. I can't even say that with a straight face, to be honest. I'm just making it look good now for you guys. Because even look at my mess right in front of me. I'm not very clear. Okay, so we got one sparkle, two sparkles. There we go. So even just a very quick stamp, emboss of that envelope makes them go together. Looks great. Recipient will be surprised as soon as they get that envelope, and they'll see that and they'll be like, I bet you this is for my birthday. And then a beautiful card. And even though we are using something that is current, which is the paper, I've pulled in stuff that isn't current, and I want you to use that stuff. Don't just think it's not usable anymore. I'm trying to represent the stuff that is current and show you how it works so you can buy what you want or what you like. If I went into this whole paper pumpkin kit and said, oh, this was so cool, you're never going to buy that. And that's not fair. So I don't want to do that to you. But you know what? If you have it, share ideas of how you've used old product. I would love to see it. And even off-brand product. I want to see how you craft, how you enjoy this pastime of crafting, how you share it, because that's the next step. Who's going to get this beautiful card and the smile it should bring to their face, or at the very least, the support and the love that this card will bring. And in the world today, I challenge you to send out a card. Maybe it's for birthday, or maybe it's just, I'm thinking of you, pat on the back. Um, we're in this world together. We should all be playing in the same sandbox, having fun instead of fighting. And that's my whole political view in a nutshell. So I just think get out, get supporting by sending a card. Right. Thank you again for following me. Share, subscribe, check out our Facebook page, Sissy's Cards and Crafts, and hopefully a webpage will be coming soon. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.